107.5 WBLS. What's up? Jusnik. And you know I love when people pull up on you, girl. And I've been waiting on this artist to pull up for a while now. She just dropped a new project called IRL. Mahalia, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm doing so good. Let's talk about IRL in real life, because that's what it stands for. So, what is this your third project?
This is my third project and my second album.
Yes.
I am. Do you know what? I feel really good. I think leading up to it coming out, I was freaking out.
Really?
Yeah, I was freaking out for like the last 2 months, to be honest.
Why?
I was so nervous. I think obviously my debut album dropped at the end of 2019. And then we basically went straight into the pandemic like 3 months later.
Right.
So I never really got to kind of see how everybody took it in. I didn't know if people were enjoying it. I didn't know which songs were like fan favorites. Like it was a really weird time. And obviously I was able to see the success of certain songs on like streaming and that kind of stuff, but I never got to fully experience it. And I think with it being 4 years since that record dropped, I think I just felt a lot of pressure about I think I was maybe scared of what people thought it was going to be, and maybe I was going to disappoint some people, or I don't really know, but I was nervous.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when it came out, that all went away. I was just really excited for it to be everybody else's now and not mine.
That's a normal reaction, though.
Yeah.
That's a norm. You can apply that to most situations. Like if you got to do a speech for something, even if you got to do an Easter speech at church, you get all these, oh my God, what if I forget my lines kind of things. So that's totally normal. But you're back, and there was 4 years that went by. So what happened in that time that you took the hiatus?
A lot happened. Well, I think so. Obviously, I think with the first I'd say like the first year being pandemic central, I think I completely stopped creating. And obviously, it was a weird time. Like everybody was online, everybody was doing something. I think that's kind of when TikTok started to come up. Like it really felt like all of my peers were doing the most. And at that point, I just released an album. Like I was like, I'm not even in the space to do the most. Like this is the time now where I want to start living and getting inspired again to go into my second album. So I didn't create for about a year, which I think was quite tough on my mind and also just on my heart. Like I think, as you can tell from my lyrics, I release a lot of emotion in my music. And I'm always talking about situations and things that are happening right there, right now within my songs. So not being able to have that release, when I got to the end of that first year, I had so much pent up. I wouldn't even call it anger. I think it was pain. Like I felt like I was in pain. And then I started therapy, and then my ex dumped me.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was a mess. And then I split from my old manager. And I think I was just in the eye of the storm for like a year, basically. And so creating in that felt a bit impossible. But then I started therapy, and I started to come out of that feeling. And I think once I was able to pick myself back up again, I was just excited about living in real life again, and like not talking over Zoom and phones and IG lives. Like I was just excited to see people again and like try and experience some normal stuff.
I like that. Shouts out to you even talking about therapy, because that seems like most people are opening up about getting therapy. It's so important to do that and have a place and person to vent to, so that you're not going crazy.
100%.
Because that mind is something else, isn't it?
Honestly, I think that when you get to learn about your own mind, it's actually a really beautiful thing. And although, parts of my mind in that time kind of scared me. Like I didn't really know that I could ever feel that low or that sad. And then, but there's something about that and about understanding that can be really, really beautiful in pushing you forward, especially as an adult. So I definitely learned a lot. And I agree. I think it's important that people are talking about therapy and about mental health and about talking about it, because I just think there's so much strength in that. And also therapy is good because that person doesn't need to agree with you or disagree with you. They're just there to listen.
Yes.
And I think we all sometimes need that, you know, no judgment. Even if they are judging, you can't tell. You
Right,
know?
exactly. Well, they get paid to do that. If they start judging you, you need to fire them. But I'm curious, did you quarantine in the States?
No, I quarantined in London.
How was that?
It was okay. Obviously, London has become my home, so that was okay. But do you know what? I just missed my family and my family. So my family, they're all dispersed really, but like my parents live up in Birmingham or like close to Birmingham. So they're about a 3-hour drive from me, and I'm not allowed to drive. I'm not allowed to go anywhere. I can't get on the train.
Why you can't drive?
Well, I actually don't drive.
You don't know how to?
I don't know how to.
Okay, I could teach you. Not in New York, though, because, baby, you'll have a heart attack. You'll be like, you know what? I'm done.
So I don't know how to drive, but at that time, we weren't allowed to move. It was, the UK was lockdown. Like, if you got caught, like, leaving the city, people were genuinely asking where you were going.
What?
And a lot of people got caught on the motorways going up to see. It was really bad. Like, the first 4 months, nobody moved.
You was on a real lockdown. You couldn't, like, leave in your car.
You couldn't go.
How did you get groceries and...
Well, London, I imagine, is probably pretty similar to, like, it's probably closer to Brooklyn. Like, certain parts of Brooklyn, I think, remind me more of London, where you might have, like, a bodega on the corner or, like, a little store. We could walk out and go grocery shopping, but there was a queue to get in the store. There wasn't... I'm pretty sure it was, like, only 10 people allowed in the store at once. It was a real lockdown.
Wow.
Yeah, that was... So I live on one of the busiest roads in East London, and I spent about 4 months just looking out of the window. There was nobody on the street. There was not a car, not a person. It was...
Talk about wild. Scary, doomsday.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What movie is this? But we're out of it. And so you obviously birthed this baby inside the pandemic. And now it's here. Yes. And how are you feeling?
Amazing. Like just... I remember saying to my mum the week before it dropped, I was like, I just can't wait to exhale. Like, I can't, like, I feel like my shoulders have been, like, up against my earlobes for, like, 2 years, and I can't wait to just release and breathe out. So I am feeling amazing. It's nice because when you release something, I think it like reopens the part of your brain that allows you to start thinking ahead again and start thinking about maybe what's next or like where I want to go next. But right now, I'm just celebrating being in this moment.
Yeah. So in real life, IRL, is this a story about what has happened in your real life recently?
Yes, I would say. I think it's a bunch of stories from the last 3 years.
So who cheated on you, girl? I'm gonna beat his ass.
Okay, so that one. So the cheating story actually happened when I was 17.
Okay.
But I have always found it really, really, really difficult to talk about. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it's... I think it's a pride thing. I think I think as a kid, or just as a 17-year-old, I don't think I fully understood what it meant to be cheated on. And I think in my mind, because when you're young, I think you can bounce back really quickly and you get over things and they hurt in the moment, but you're able to push forward. I realized that it changed my way of thinking towards men. And I think that every relationship that I went into after that, I was deeply untrusting of men and probably quite paranoid at times. And so I think, again, therapy, I think figuring that out and realizing that this past relationship had done this to me, I think that's why it was important that record went on the album.
Absolutely. Yeah. You got JoJo on there. She's amazing. How did that come together?
So first I had the idea and then I kind of floated it with my team. And I think everybody was like, you could definitely just try. Like, just drop her a message and see what she says. So I just did. And luckily I had met her in LA about 5 years ago. So I felt like maybe it would be okay if I dropped her a message. I dropped her a message and she dropped me one back within like an hour.
Wow.
And then she said, just email it to me. And then we kind of had like a little email dialogue going back and forth about the song, about the lyrics. And then it was kind of done in 2 weeks. And she was the first feature I got.
Wow.
So I didn't know where to go from there, because that just felt like, the reaction from my brothers, I think, was the craziest.
What did they say?
I mean, it was my middle brother, he's like 4 years older than me. It was him who introduced me to JoJo. He had JoJo's album on CD. And I remember like he used to blast that out of his bedroom and dance in his bedroom to JoJo. And he introduced me to her. So I think we just had this moment of being like, can you believe that JoJo's on this record? Like, how like crazy is that? So it was nice. I mean, I share all my music with my family, so it's always nice when they get excited about certain records.
Yeah. Well, the fans clearly love it. You know. Do you believe once a cheat, always a cheat?
So I've been talking about this a lot recently. I think I don't believe that people can't change. I think there is definitely a reality that exists where, you know, a man might cheat on me, but in his next relationship might not cheat on her. But I think when I think about once a cheat, always a cheat, what I mean is you cheated on me. And so to me, you are always a cheat. You will never not be a cheat to me, you know?
That part.
Right. I need to start saying that. That's my new favourite saying. Is that a New York thing? Because whenever I'm here, everyone says that part. And I'm like... Yeah.
Well, it's a global, not global, but a nationwide thing. Period? Yeah.
Right.
Honestly. Or emphasis on what you just said, that part.
Right. Okay. I think it's how I say right.
Okay, well, now you got to teach me something that's popular in the UK.
A saying. I don't know if we have... Listen, all of our sayings come from you guys, and I'm not going to lie.
What?
Guys. We are copycats. All of our sayings, I definitely feel like all of our sayings come from here.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think we have anything really. There's all the old ones that I think most people have spoken about out here. Like we have peng, which means like gorgeous or like beautiful.
And say that again?
Peng, P-E-N-G.
Peng.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to see how you word that. Girl, you are peng.
Right.
That's weird. But no, I appreciate that. So we're talking about the new project. One of my favorite songs on there is What's Up. And I hear the Candy Rain sample in there. So I'm like, ooh, okay. It's giving me a little bit of throwback, but it's giving me a little 2023.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite song on the project?
So being honest, it changes every day. But I would actually say today, same. It's What's Up. I've been playing it a lot whilst I've been out here. I think it's just because...
It feels good.
Yeah, but like also I think because like where I'm from in Leicester as a city is actually a super diverse city, but there's certain parts of music that my friends just never heard. I heard because my parents are musicians and they're also just cultured and like, you know, like had a lot of music in the house. But so for me... that sample was huge because I remember that record. I remember hearing it out of my dad's out of my dad's speakers. I remember mum playing it in the car. So for me, it was a big moment. So my friends back home didn't get it, and I think it's my favorite right now because I'm out here. Everybody just gets it.
Yeah,
and I knew because I am currently signed to Atlantic Records, and I'm obviously signed in the UK and signed in the US. And I remember making the record and sending it to my UK team. And I was like, you lot aren't excited enough. This record is amazing. And then I sent it to my US team.
And we over here like, right. Oh, that's it.
Right. So I think that's probably my favorite right now. That Candy Rain has just always made me want to move. I could be in any mood. And so I remember going in the studio and the producer playing me the beat with the sample in. And I was like, yeah, there is no way that I'm leaving this off my record. And I didn't really do much sampling this time around. Yeah. So I wanted to have another moment that felt like I could connect to it.
Another fan fave is In My Bag.
Yeah.
Have you been getting a lot of feedback from that one?
Yeah. Which I get because I feel like In My Bag, there's a funness to it and there's a kind of silliness to it. Like there's a lot of lyrics in there that even when writing them, I thought, are people just going to find that really silly? But I love it because I think it was my one moment on the album where I got to just really flex and like celebrate how I was feeling in that moment, especially, you know, going off everything that we spoke about in the beginning. I think when I really felt like I was in my bag and I was writing the record that I wanted to write, that feeling was just basically that song, like how the song feels, the beat, the music, the vocals, like all of it together was how I was feeling.
Well, I keep noticing your green nails.
Yeah.
You know, green, that's about money,
Yeah,
prosperity and everything. So is that where you're at right now? Like, I'm feeling prosperous.
100%. I'm also just feeling like I needed some color in my life. Like, it's also summer. It's a nice time to, paint my nails green. I definitely had a moment though of being like, is this the right shade? And the lady doing my nails did not like it. So
oh, what?
I know. So she was kind of putting me off, but I love it. And it's got that like chrome finish.
Yes.
So it's giving emerald.
It's giving money,
Right.
honey. It's giving abundance. I'm in my bag. So you're obviously a global singer. Are there any major differences from just the UK and the United States that you think really stands out?
In anything or in music?
Anything and music.
Anything. Are there differences?
I mean, you tell me about the lockdown, which is
that was
something scary.
Well, I don't even know if they could do a lockdown like that out here because it's just so big.
Nobody would listen.
Yeah.
We didn't listen. They told us to put masks on and you saw how that went. So it's like...
I'm trying to think like the main difference. No, it's funny actually. I mean, different parts of America for sure. But when I'm in New York, it's the only place that I really feel like I could be at home.
Where do you feel safer?
Honestly, home. Just I think because there are things that exist here that don't exist at home that I'm definitely not used to. We were having this conversation yesterday. Like I think naturally, I don't know what I can talk about on the radio, but naturally, I think when I'm here, there's this constant fear of guns, but I didn't grow up with guns. I've never seen a gun. I've seen one in the airport one time, and I remember it really vividly. So I think when I'm in the States, I always have this like underlying fear. I know that my mum does. My mum is always freaking out.
Yeah.
But there is also terrible things happening in the UK. Terrible things, like things that maybe other people haven't heard of. Like, so, but that is me on a personal level. On a professional level, I feel safer here. I feel like here, people hold me. I feel like people celebrate what I do. My music isn't pulled apart. I think people just celebrate the fact that I make R&B music, but I also make, like, maybe I sit in the kind of alternative. Like, I feel like here people don't question what I do, whereas I think at home, they don't understand it because it doesn't fit into the mold of what R&B should look like. Whereas here, I think everyone's just like, do whatever you want and we're going to hold you and we're going to accept you. So, yeah.
Do you think there's like a sound when it comes to the UK? Like everybody sings this type of music and they're expecting you to fall in line with that?
I don't even know if there's a sound. I think that the UK for years has not known what to do with R&B, where to place it, how to market it. And I think when those questions come up, what happens is when one R&B artist has a successful moment with one song, everybody says, okay, that's the blueprint,
right?
Whereas in my mind, there shouldn't be a blueprint because there isn't one, right? Like we hear so much type of music come through that if somebody else made it might not come through in the same way. So I think I've always struggled with that. I think there's a song of mine called I Wish I Missed My Ex, which did really well in the UK.
I wish I missed my ex?
Yeah.
Whew. Sorry, not sorry.
Right. And it did super well over there. And I remember kind of, after writing that and after releasing it, everybody said, you need to just make that. And I'm like, there is no way that I can recreate that record. I don't even know how I made that record, I need to keep developing and evolving. And I think to me, that's what R&B is. All my favorite R&B artists, when I move on to different albums and move through their records, you can feel that they're moving on, So, yeah, I think that's my main difference. I will say that the fast food is better here. That is what I will say. More calories, but better.
So, okay, well, we talked about the breakup and everything, and obviously that helps you create your music and give you your outlet. But now, you know, you on Instagram glowing. It seems like you done found love. So, like, you done got you a boo.
I do. I do, which is, well, it's not crazy because I've had boos before and I've kind of, you know, I've definitely soft launched them before. But this guy, we've been together for coming on 3 years.
Oh.
I know, which is like...
Wait, y'all met in the pandemic?
Yeah. I know. So when I said that I started therapy and I'm now coming out, this is when the UK started to slowly open up again. And they basically had this scheme where they were getting people to go back to restaurants. And you could sit outside and you could go to pubs and have a drink outside. It was actually very, very civilized for us. But I met him then. And we were friends for a while. I think... You know, I kind of remember going to see my therapist and being like, I've met this guy, and her being like, I need you to take a pause. And I was like, okay. So I met him though, and it just really naturally came together.
Yeah.
And he's a songwriter and an artist.
Oh, so you write songs together? You have
We
like
wrote most of the album together.
so sweet. Wait, so you got to cut the check? Y'all got to split it and everything?
No. Well, it's kind of, it's like... It's way too complicated to even explain, but there is like we basically split everything anyway. But when it comes to like the like money side, I can't even explain that stuff. That stuff is so confusing.
Because you know it's hard to like mix business and pleasure, but it's kind of like, you know, you do want to grow and
100%.
get that money with your person. So it's like, okay, listen, you can't mess up. You're stuck with me because we're in business together.
Yeah.
So we're together forever.
The money conversations are always tough, especially because right now, you know, there's a huge conversation going on right now about songwriters and how much they make, and it being a really big issue. It's been an issue for a long time. Look, fundamentally, we're in an industry that is not built to benefit the creative in any way. We know that. I think I've definitely heard conversations about it out here. We're also seeing it with the writers' strikes out here right now. Like, in most creative industries, it's not the business model just isn't designed to benefit creatives. And so me being the artist and him being the songwriter on my project, and me being with a major label and him not,
right,
that was really tough because we're kind of dealing with this business, this terribly set up business model that says he shouldn't benefit and I should, or he shouldn't benefit and the label should. Wow. So for us as a couple, that was hard. But I think the industry is changing. I think the more that people like me talk about it, the more that songwriters talk about it, it's going to change. But songwriters need to be paid because this is not... I mean, it's been interesting for me seeing it through my partner's eyes because he's my partner and he's a songwriter, and me really understanding actually that like they really don't see anything. And if they do get a split of something, it's peanuts. So, and you know, that's my man. Like, I don't want my man to come home and like not have any money, and I definitely don't want me or my company to be the reason why he doesn't get paid. So we definitely dealt with some difficult stuff. Yeah, we did, but we're great, and we kind of pushed through that. And I think this is also the reason why it's important when you're coming into the industry to have people around you to sometimes shelter you from those conversations, because the minute that comes into the home and you're on opposing sides, even if you love each other and you don't want to be, you're on opposing sides because I work for me and he works for himself. Right. You know, that can be difficult. But, you know. But
you see how everything works out, though. So it's kind of like what you expect at the end of a great movie where you see all the trials and tribulations in the beginning, but then in the end, it's the happy ending. Exactly. Because you went from a bad breakup to... Now you got person. So it works out. IRL is out now. What do you want to say to your fans before we let you go? Oh, I think I just want to first of all say, I if you're listening and you ride with me, I love you. But also I hope that when listening to this record, you're really able to hear the sense of confidence and independence. And I hope that you're able to take some of that from me. So yeah. And thank you for being here because it means a lot. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you all for watching. It's WBLS.